What is up, faithful, on this Monday evening in the thick of the off season? This is the dog days of the off season. What's up, everybody? I see Russell says smash that like button. 49ers throwback. What's up? Doing okay. It's President's Day today, right? Sean Plays says bang bang, not a gang. Debbie, what's up? Dr. Raj, what's up? MF says he saw me with Krug earlier today. Yes, sir. It was on the Krug show. Every Monday we do that thing. What's up, man? Hey, Peter Parker says, what's up, everyone? I can't handle the off season. You and me both. It is the most dry off season of all time, and it's only been not even that long. It's been barely a week or two since a week since Super Bowl. This is crazy, man. It's like nothing going on. Literally nothing. It should be Victory Monday, right? I mean, this is crazy. This is a boring off season, man. Hogong says, great show from you and Larry. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. It's always good hopping on with Larry. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's off season going? I've been working a lot. I've been enjoying my time, extra time here and there, trying to get out, do stuff, just going out and do stuff, trying to keep myself busy because it sucks without football. Like yesterday was such a sad day without football. And Mr. Sacra says off season is dead. It is so dead. It is so dead. There's nothing to talk about. I mean, I get it. This is how it is usually, but man, this is probably one of the most driest off seasons I've seen start a year. It's for the 49ers, but it is what it is. Things will pick up. That's how it always goes. And eventually we'll get some news here and there. The NFL Combine starts next week on Tuesday, so Kyle and John Lynch will be there. I can't wait to hear what they say. Speaking of Kyle, we'll talk about him today. He was in Cabo with the players this weekend. But, there's not a lot of news. Usually I'm on here and I'm like, oh, we got a lot to talk about. That's not what we're talking about today. There's not a lot to talk about today. We'll bring up whatever there is. I feel like I covered a lot of it with Larry today. I feel like this week or leading up to the week last week, I pretty much hit everything. We've talked about free agents. Talked about it all. You can only talk about the same thing every day so many times. So there is a few new things out there. First and foremost, this is what the show title was about. So let's get into that. The 49ers are unlikely to pick up Javon Kinlaw's 5th-year option. This shouldn't catch anybody by surprise. This shouldn't be breaking news. This shouldn't make anybody like, really? Obviously, Javon Kinlaw hasn't lived up to his hype. His draft status, he was the number 14th pick in the 2020 draft. And according to the Athletics' Matt Barrows and Dave Lombardi, last week they wrote that the 49ers are unlikely to pick up the 5th-year option on Kinlaw's rookie contract. So that means next season it is going to be his 4th year in the league, and that would be his last on his rookie contract. And then he will become an unrestricted free agent. So unfortunately for Javon Kinlaw, this is probably the last time the 49ers are going to have him on the roster. I'd be shocked unless he has a breakout crazy season in 2023, but the guy hasn't been able to stay healthy, and they're going to give him basically one more year to figure it out, see if you can do anything. I don't think you cut him because that would be a big cap hit. It's unfortunate. You do take a cap hit. I know a lot of people are going to say trade him. He doesn't have much value. He's a big D lineman with knee issues. I don't think he has much value. So at this point, you got to hold your L. You see what he can do. You let him go through training camp, and maybe he could stay healthy and win a spot on the roster. The team usually has 10 or 11, D linemen on their team. I would suppose that Kinlaw makes the roster. Now, is he going to be a premium player on that roster? I don't think so, just based on his history. But again, he'll be motivated to go in there and stay healthy and at least play. So this is probably the last year we're going to see Javon Kinlaw with the 49ers. Now, if he gets hurt again, and if he doesn't pan out and he just doesn't look good, then they'll probably cut him. But again, I think they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and let him at least compete for a roster spot this year. I mean, that's probably the most logical expectation. Now, again, I don't expect them to pick up the 5th-year option, and I don't think most people that are associated with this team, the reporters and everything, are thinking they will. So the 49ers do have until May 1st, that's the deadline, to decide whether or not to exercise the 5th-year option on first-round picks from the 2020 draft class. On the flip side, you got Brandon Iuka, who was also a first-round pick in the 2020 draft. Now, I expect them to pick up Brandon Ayuk's 5th-year option. That'll cost them $14.1 million, but that is $14.1 million well-deserved for Brandon Iuka. Now, the other thing is, so Javon Kinlaw, if they look into the option, That's $10 million to give Javon Kinlaw for 2024 if they pick up his fifth-year option. I don't think they want to pay Javon Kinlaw $10 million. I don't think they want to pay him $1 million. So I doubt they would pick it up just for the sheer fact of picking up that fifth-year option will cost them $10 million. That's a lot of money. $10 million for a guy that hasn't played much, through his career. Again, it's unfortunate for him. Let's take a look at his career. So he played 14 games in his rookie season. He flashed a little bit. He missed some time there, right? But then he only played 4 games in 2021. He had a season-ending knee surgery in October. The knee issues kind of lingered into this year. He missed 11 contests from October to December this past year. He made his return in Week 16 against the Commanders. He didn't do much. He had no sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 9 tackles. Through his career, he has 1.5 tackles. So that's just not a lot of production from a first-round pick, a top 15 pick, unfortunately. So exactly what Throwback says. He says he's not a rookie anymore. His 4th year, and he hasn't proven it. Again, that's a 100% accurate take, which is an unfortunate situation for Kinlaw, but he hasn't proven much or anything, honestly, not even much. There's been a few flashes here and there, but knee issues have really derailed his career, and I don't know if he can stay healthy throughout the rest of, this season. It's a tall task, and it's unfortunate for him. So, unfortunate for Javon. I'm sure he's going to work hard, as he always does, but it just doesn't look good. He can't stay healthy, and it's unfortunate for him. Mason says, going to Kansas City tomorrow, and you already know I'm wearing my Niner gear. Stay representing in Kansas City, Mason. That's good. Throwback says, I've lost my respect for Kinlaw. I trusted him. Grant Cohn was right. I mean, at the end of the day, Grant Cohn, he called it like he saw it. He says he has a lot of knee issues and he's injury prone and this and that. And again, I feel kind of bad for Kinlaw because he did want to prove himself. He did work hard. He just, when you're that big and you have that many knee issues and you miss that many games and you're a first-round pick, there's a lot of pressure on you, A. And then B, you're not going to hit the development you need. He missed a lot of games. People say Trey Lance, he's not developing because he didn't play a lot of games. It's the same situation for Javon Kinlaw. He has not been able to develop, because he hasn't been able to play. And Armstead, if you guys watched, the NFC Championship game, we all saw Kinlaw was getting beat around. He was getting pushed around. Now, there was a lot of people posting those highlights. And Armstead, a great teammate that he is, he went in and he kind of vouched for Kinlaw, says, that's just a technique thing. He needs to learn. He needs more development. It's a dub for Armstead, but it does show you that, that Kinlaw, through his 3 years in the NFL, hasn't really learned much in the NFL. Like, his technique hasn't improved or anything. He's a big guy, and he tries to get by being the Hulk and Hulk smashing. And in college, he was bigger and stronger than everybody. Not in the NFL. Everybody's a big dude. Everybody's big in the NFL. So, Steven says, like, what happened to Armstead for his breakout 2019? Hopefully that's the same thing with Kinlaw. And again, that's probably what they're going to tell Kinlaw is, hey, look, we're not picking up your contract, your 5th-year option. Go out there and earn yourself. So hopefully for Kinlaw, he can stay healthy and break out. And it's incentive, it's motivation for him to play at a high level. But just the track record doesn't bode well for him. But you never know. Never know. Beautifully Flawed says, unfortunately, he was going to be compared to Buck as soon as they traded him to the Colts. Sadly, he hasn't performed up to expectations, but injuries and other things could have played a huge part. I agree with this. And he had pressure from day one. You're absolutely right, Flawed. Kinlaw, the day he came into this team, after the trade and everything, he was going to be compared to Defoe. Whether it's fair or not, that was the situation that they put upon him. They bestowed that upon him. I'm not going to get into all that drama, the politics, because we could sit here and talk about that all day. It's not the goal of this. It's just the goal is to talk about, Kinlaw is probably not coming back on the 5th-year option, and this is probably his last year. And again, there are a lot of factors. And this is one of the big factors is there was a lot of pressure placed on him from day one. Every player has pressure on them from the jump in the NFL, but some players have more pressure initially than others. And he got off to a massively pressure cooker situation in his career. So Rashad says, Kinlaw's going to Houston. I could see him going to Houston, or I could see him going to the Jets. Robert Salah is the guy that drafted him ultimately. I could see Robert Saleh saying, hey, I know this guy. I can fix him. I can get him on my team for cheap. If he does go to a team like Houston or New York, I could see Salah or D'Amico saying, we could fix him. We could work with them. Kind of like Solomon Thomas when he went to the Jets, right? He went to the Jets and Salah kind of got him and helped him out, helped his career a little bit. So you never know. You never know. He might go with one of these older teams or teams with some of his older coaches that he could kind of get some tutelage from them, and maybe they believe in him. Maybe they think they could turn him around. Because I don't think the 49ers at this point can. Maybe he needs a clean slate. He needs to get out of the 49ers, and maybe a new start, new beginnings will help him. But again, fifth-year option, not an option for the 49ers. So the young Montana says Grant will destroy Kinlaw. I'd like to see them duke it out one day. That was a legendary live stream that night. That was crazy. First off, Kinlaw comes in and my nuts are bigger than you. We all remember that. I want to see them go toe to toe. I want to see it at this point. I want to see them have another interview this year. I want to see what Kinlaw says this year. Yeah, compared to what he said last year. That was classic stuff, man. Somebody's breaking into my car. I don't know. Maybe somebody is breaking down into the car in the parking lot. I don't know. We'll have to check. Hopefully, when I get down to my car tomorrow morning, it's still there. It's not my alarm. I don't know. We live in a good neighborhood, but hey, you never know. Maybe I should check if there's someone breaking in to the complex. Hey, Peter Parker says, we've been drafting so well and used those other later round gems. Bound to happen. We finally missed on one. He just happened to be a first round pick. Yeah, I feel the 49ers draft better in the later rounds. They really draft great in the late end of the draft. 5th round, 7th round, undrafted, even, third round. They draft well. Unless you're a third round running back, don't want to hear it. But the 49ers typically get most of their production and their best players later. First round picks is hit or miss with them. They've missed a few of them. Reuben Foster, Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw. But then they've had Nick Bosa, but that was a can't miss prospect. Debo, second round pick. Those were two guys that you expected to do good. Brandon Iuka was a first round pick. So not all of them are going to pan out, but I do feel like later is better for the 49ers. I think most of you guys will agree with that. So, yeah, we can never have nice things. JR says, I hope Kinlaw proves the doubters wrong. I mean, we've been waiting for that for a long time. I'm not going to hate on the guy. I hope he can prove people wrong. But at this point in his career, a lot of injuries, slow development. I don't know if I see it. But again, hey, if he comes out and tears it up this year, it's icing on the cake for the team. They get production out of him, and that would be great. But they do need interior linemen, and that D-line and the inside is something that really needs to make sure is going to be a priority this offseason, right? Because I feel like ever since they lost they lost DJ Jones last year, they kind of set them back a little. And then Armstead was injured this year. Kinlaw was injured this year. They have good players. You have Kevin Givens. He was a nice rotational piece. He's a free agent. McGill came in. He was nice. Kerry Hyder, he's good depth, but he's not a starter. Those are all free agents. So the interior D-line has some work. They got Kalia Davis, who's a rookie. He was a rookie this year, coming into the year with the ACL, so it was a redshirt year for him. How effective is Kalia Davis going to be? You don't expect him to get starter snaps and reps, his first year coming off an ACL. So they really need to make sure that interior D-line is a key offseason priority, I guess Armstead, obviously, he should be healthy this year. Hopefully he doesn't have another setback like he did last year with the foot fracture and the plantar fasciitis. But outside of Armstead, I can't tell you that we have a dominant interior D lineman on this team. You lost DJ Jones. You put a lot of pressure on Kinlaw, who, again, can't stay healthy. That's not a winning formula. You got a new defensive coordinator. I feel interior D lineman is a major priority. Obviously, we know offensive line is a priority, but the interior D line definitely has to be one of the major keys in offseason. And I don't know if you hit that during the draft or free agency, because there are some good free agents. We all know Deron Payne is probably the premier elite defensive lineman in free agency. And if they can go get a guy like that, swing for the fences to get Deron Payne, I would love it. But history doesn't bode well for the 49ers in doing so. I think they're going to try to go cheap. I think they're going to try to get a lineman later in the draft. But I mean, you can't waste this core team that you have. You have a good great group of core players that have a win now kind of window. I think 2 to 3 years, but you can't waste it. You need to make sure that those holes are filled. I would love for them to go and get a guy like Jerron Payne, and we'll see if it happens. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because if they didn't want to pay all that money to DJ Jones, it tells me that they might not go do the same for Jerron Payne unless they learn their lesson. Because this 49ers defense is built in the trenches. It's built on the D-line, right? Go spend some money on alignment because you need one. I don't want to sit here and have second fiddle guys play starter minutes. That's the issue to me. Is okay, they might bring back Kevin Givens, they might bring back Kerry Hyder, but are they good enough to be starters on this team? Probably not. Is Javon Kinlaw good enough to play, the majority of snaps in the game? Probably not with his injuries, his knee issues. So they need to bolster the interior D line this offseason, in my opinion. To me, they do. So yeah, you can't change his body, I guess. Peter Park says, unless you're Aaron Donald. Hey, Peter Park says, okay, so he says no defensive tackle is worth $19+ million a year unless you're Aaron Donald. Well, yeah, Aaron Donald's a beast. He's a monster, man. So Chris says Kinlaw is a effing monster. Let's hope he gets it out of. Let's hope he plays like a monster. We need it. We need a monster on the interior line, Chris. That's what we need. We need a monster. That's what the Niners need. Right now, he has been a monster, in my opinion. But hey, what's up, good people? What's up, Terrence? What's wrong with Kinlaw's knee? Hasn't it been the same injury? Just had a lot of, knee issues, tendonitis and things like that, bursitis, a lot of inflammation. When you have a knee injury, it continues to go out there and have issues. But he did get an ACL reconstructive surgery last year. They went in and he tried to go fix his knee up and, make sure he can avoid some of these issues. But the rehab was very intense and there was a lot of swelling. So you got to remember, he's such a big dude and he puts a lot of pressure on his knees when he's out there. It's tough. So can he shed these injuries? I don't know. It's tough. There's a lot of players in the NBA that this happens to. I mean, obviously NBA and the NFL is a different sport, but it's similar when you have these knee injuries and they're big guys and you're putting all this stress on them. The name that always comes to mind to me is Greg Oden. He had a great potential. He was a big dude, a lot of stress on his knees, and he flamed out. He became a bust in the NBA because of knee issues. So to me, it's very similar situation. Is he had a lot of knee issues, Kinlaw, a lot of stress, and it's unfortunate for him. So yeah, Throwback says his knee is an issue. It's something you can't fix, and 49ers are paying for the price for that. I agree. Chris also says Brandon Roy. Oh, that guy was money, man. I agree, Chris. Brandon Roy was another guy that had knee issues that caused him to flame out. But it happens in sports. It's unfortunately the reality. We've seen so many great athletes be limited and their career was shortened by injury. So we'll see. Again, to summarize, obviously the 49ers are not expected to pick up the option, the fifth-year option for Javon Kinlaw. It is going to be worth $10 million for 2024 if they were to pick it and exercise it up. And the deadline is May 1st. They're probably not going to do it. So obviously we knew this news. It's not anything breaking. It's not shocking to us, but it is something we want to talk about because it's the off season. There's not much going on. One thing that was going on this weekend is the 49ers are on vacation, right? It's off season. It's good for them to party this weekend. Pretty cool. We saw the videos. We saw the posts, the Instagram stories. All the players were together in Cabo. Pretty cool, right? The players are in Cabo. I know Kyle goes every year. He goes there. And the 49ers decided to join him up this year. I think the players are usually there with him through the years. So I remember when Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk were in Cabo with him, previous years. But this year you had CMC and his girl. You had Debo and his girl. Debo joined the core group. Debo was there with the boys. I thought that was cool. I thought it was pretty cool to see Debo. And Trent Williams was there. Debo, Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, all the girls, and Kyle Shanahan. That was pretty cool, man. It's pretty good. It was pretty nice to see that. They needed a break. It's pretty cool to see Kyle, vibing with the players and the boys. And, I feel like the players like Kyle. They always talk highly of Kyle. I think it's good. I wonder what they said. Kinlaw was there. I didn't know Kinlaw was in Cabo with them. Trent was there. Yeah, Trent Williams was there. I wonder what they said to you. I wish I was a fly on the wall, a fly on the yacht when they were all talking about stuff. Because, football came up That's something I would have loved to have heard, going there or being someone that was around him that time, man. And, just hearing their conversations. But it's pretty cool that the players, are taking this break and they're with coach, with the coach, relaxing and enjoying themselves. But it's nice to see Debo with them because, a lot of people said Debo, he's not part of the group. He's never with them. But it was nice to see Debo because he's honestly a big part of this team. He's a leader. He's a captain. It's good that he was with Kyle, because people always want to paint this picture that Kyle and the players don't get along. Da, 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 da. It was nice to see that. I thought that was cool. And Trent Williams was there. So, Cabo crew, good for the players. They needed that break. It was a long season. Kinlaw will be as healthy as ever, barring any new injuries. Could have a good year and a best of luck to him in a new team. Yeah, Randy, you know what? He could be. This could be a healthy year for him. I hope he has. I hope he has a good year. I don't wish anything bad on the guy. Obviously, we're sitting here talking, that he hasn't been good or whatever. But I do wish nothing but the best for him. And if he has a good year and he stays healthy and he earns a contract somewhere, then that's even better for him. So, yeah, I agree with that. Rob says, did we need to have our entire core riding on a sketchy bridge at the same time, though? Can you imagine if something would have happened to them? Niner fans would have been crazy. We would have went on a revolution, like a revolt, and we would have told them never go to Cabo, ever. But I'm just glad they had fun and a good time. Fred Warner was out in Paris, though. I saw his girl was posting on their story. They're in Paris. That's way, way far away from Cabo. He was like, all right, I'm going to go to Cabo. They said, we're going to Cabo. Fred's like, well, we're going to Paris. It's good. Every player celebrates differently. Off season, go enjoy your time with your family because they don't get a lot of time off. They get this 3-4 week period after the season and maybe longer if you end your season earlier, right? 49ers played well into the season, so their time off was a little bit less. And then, free agency comes, boom, and then players are back and doing their workouts and they got to get ready. And then there's conditioning and then OTAs all of a sudden are here, then training camp. So it goes by quick. They don't get a lot of time off. It's nice to see them enjoying it. But, I don't know. I hope that this team uses this time to reflect and really figure out what the heck do they need to get to the Super Bowl. Because they're always so close. They're just so close. They always are close, man. They need to get over the hump. Rob says, Fred's girl said Paris. Fred said, yes, dear. Yeah. At that point, you just got to go with the flow. Go with the flow. If she says Paris, you're going to Paris. If she says Cabo, you're going to Cabo. But good for them. Any questions? Anything you guys want to know? Any topics you want to bring up? It's the offseason. There's not much to talk about. Like we said, Javon Kinlaw, that was like the big news of the weekend. If there was really any news, other than that, not too much. Just a lot of rumors. We talked about the Debo situation, the trade. That wasn't even a real trade situation. We shut that down. That was so silly last week. That's a typical off-season report, and then obviously the big priority this offseason is Nick Bosa. He needs to get paid, and I'm sure that's going to happen at some point, but it's going to be one of those long processes. The agent's going to have to sit down with the 49ers front office, and it's going to be a long, drawn-out, contract negotiation, how it always is. So how's life treating me? Not bad. Busy, working, trying to keep my mind preoccupied without football. It's sometimes it's just a little boring some days, but trying to stay busy. Hopefully you guys are doing good and life is treating you guys well. But yeah, staying busy, trying to go out on the weekend. Went to SF, went to the city, and I got a couple other things planned out over the next couple weeks. I got going to go to a Warriors game, got a couple other trips I'm working on. So working hard, making money, and then going and celebrating and trying to pass time by traveling. That's what I like to do. I like to travel. I need to go to Cabo next year, though. Raj, when do you think Trey will start full-on training? So according to Trey, he did mention this, how, during Super Bowl week, he was talking to, was it Rich Eisen? And he says by the end of the month, he should be cleared for running. Because if you remember after the locker room goodbye interviews, he said he was going to be fully go, but he had to clarify that. He says his PT told him he was wrong on that. So he clarified it. He says by the end of the month, So by the end of this month, he should be running at some point. Once you get to that running phase, then he's going to ramp up his rehab. So I would suspect him being ready to be fully clear, fully training by the end of next month or sometime in April, where he's like just pretty much fully ready doing, game related activities, football related activities. But by the end of this month, he will be running. But I expect him by the end of March maybe to be kind of fully on go with his training. And I know he's going to be training with his normal Quincy Avery and their group of quarterback coaches. So he usually goes out to the QB takeover and he trains with them. I don't know if you guys know Quincy Avery, but last week when Trey was on that podcast with him, that's the guy that he's going to be training with. He usually does. He trained with Jalen Hurts last year, and I think he's going to keep the same group of trainers. So we'll probably see some stuff around March, April. I'm excited to see his videos. I know some of the people that do his videography and all his his photography. I know some of the people that do that, his content creators that capture that. I was talking to them and they said, yeah, usually around that time. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see Trey hit his training. And usually Brandon Iuka comes out there with him. There's another guy, Les Spellman. They have that speed training group. They're out in Vegas, and there's a couple other guys in their group. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the names, but I know some of those guys. Because last year, we posted their content, and they're going to be training with him again too. So he'll probably be, from mid-March till May, around that time, he'll be with different groups going out and training. And I think Spellman, he's also in LA, so he does some stuff in Vegas. They've done some stuff in LA, and just waiting for them to get rolling. We'll get the content up. It's gonna be fun. Jose says, "Have I talked to Smitty since Super Bowl? Yeah, he was live with me last week. We cool. We talk every day. We good, man. Smitty and me, it's water under the bridge. There was no hate, no love lost. We were just both upset. End of the season, he wanted his team to win. I wanted my team to win. Cooler heads prevail. But yeah, I talked to Smitty this week. I talk to him every day. We text each other every day. So good stuff. So I hate the NBA players sit out. I went to watch a Warriors game and Curry. Yeah, it sucks. But Curry's injured though. He's legit always. He's been hurt a lot. That's Steph Curry. If you're a Warriors guy, Steph's good to miss about 20 games a year at least. So it's unfortunate. But it is stupid. I don't like the load management thing because again, it's a long season, 82 games. Players will just take off during random parts of the year, and they're healthy because they want to make sure that they're ready for the grind of the playoffs. So that to me, I don't like because I've been to games where I'm expecting to see like someone, really big superstar play and they don't play. And it's like, come on, man, you go to pay these, fines, these tickets, big money fines and fees, not fines, fees, big money fees for tickets, and then the star player's not there. That's unfortunate, So you got to know the injuries to players, and if there's someone like, let's say you go to LA and you want to see LeBron and he's not playing. And he's not hurt. That to me is ridiculous. So I agree. Rob says Brandon Iuka is starting a YouTube channel. I saw it. I saw his YouTube. He was talking about it. I think he started TikTok. He was streaming on TikTok. I saw some stuff on his Instagram story. So that's pretty cool. Sharia says we should have drafted Tristan Dwarfs. I was so pissed because that's what I wanted from the 2020 draft. And look how that turned out. I wish we would have got Tristan Dwarfs. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I mean, looking at that draft, I remember sitting there too. I was like, oh my God, the 49ers have a chance at Tristan Dwarfs. Oh my God. But I feel like after trading DeForest Buckner, like the writing was on the wall. They were going to take a lineman. I remember that was my prediction. I remember doing my final mock draft, and people ate me alive. We're not getting another D lineman. And I was like, it makes sense because they traded DeForest Buckner. That's like a logical explanation. And at the time, that was the year where all the wide receivers, right? Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, they were, we got to get a wide receiver. And I was on the train, right, with the wide receivers. But I did think they were going to get Kinlaw and then a receiver, which they did. I didn't think it was going to be Brandon Iuka. Smitty, actually, when we were live and breaking that down, he was like, they might go for Iuka. And that's when we started watching his stuff. And I was like, oh, this guy's good, maybe. But, yeah, Tristan Wirfs, looking back at it, would have been a money. Can you imagine the one who got Tristan Wirfs and Brandon Iuka that year? Holy God. You'd have Trent Williams and Tristan Wirfs. Would have been amazing. But, of course, they have Mike McGlinchey. So right tackle wasn't necessarily a need. But, man, that would have been a massive pick. Gleet says, I just want to see us win a Super Bowl before I die. 100%. I think I said that to my daughter at some point in these last 2 weeks. I said, I just want us to win a Super Bowl at some point before I die. I really do. My man MF says, I went up to the Bucs Niners game. Levis Stadium is a place. Yeah, man, it's fun to go to Levi's. It's definitely improved over the last couple of years because the team is winning. Good vibe. I remember when Levi's first opened, people hated it. Nobody wanted to go to the game because people were still pissed that Candlestick was demolished and they went to Levi's and people hated it. And the crowd was different. It was your typical Silicon Valley. It weren't real Niner fans, I don't think. It was like a weird crowd. They weren't winning. People weren't caring about the games. There wasn't a lot of people it wasn't a full house like it normally was. People were cheering. I used to fly in from Vegas, go to the games, and I'd get good seats. I'd get like premium hundreds, row in like 103, down by the field for like $100. It's cheap. Tickets were cheap. I wish it was still that cheap because now you can't get that kind of ticket for that price. But it was cheap. I used to fly down. Obviously, we would lose games though, but it was fun to be at the game. But from then, 2013, 2014, 2015 till now, Levi's is totally transformed. Obviously, because the team's winning. It's a winning vibe. I love it. But the price is not as good. So my man Medulla says, my boss knows I'm a big Niner fan. He was working with Kittle at the Pro Bowl. Oh, that's cool. He says his boss does social media. That's pretty dope. He said he's a really cool guy, but he doesn't want to be famous and doesn't like being spotted in public and being asked. I found that very surprising. He was also said CMC was big. That is surprising to me because I would suppose that Kittle loves being in the spotlight. That's the type of guy he is, right? He always is doing different ventures, acting, gigs, a lot of ads, stuff like that. So that's surprising to me. He seems like he would go into like wrestling or something after he hangs it up, do a contract, go into the WWE. But I also think that he really wants to focus on his tight end university and really turn that into something big, like a real school of football and train people to be a tight end. I think that's going to be something he really continues after NFL. But, I mean, yeah, I didn't realize Kittle was a guy that doesn't like to be in the spotlight. But I can see, like, maybe he just doesn't want to take photos with everybody. Because once you start taking a photo with one guy, you got to start taking it with everybody. So I can kind of see that aspect of it. So what home games am I planning to go to? I'm not sure yet. I'm going to figure out once they get the schedule out. I got to look. But, I mean, I want to go to all of them, obviously. But I don't know. We'll see. There's definitely some really good games on the deck. But we'll see. Once they release the actual dates, I'll know because I want to figure out what road games I want to go to this year. That's what I really want to do this year. I want to go to Philly this year, and if there's a international game, I would love to go to a international game. So Peter Parker says he's going to the Bengals and Cowboys for sure. Cowboys game, yeah, that's probably a game we all got to go to. That's gonna be fun. Bengals for sure would be a vibe of a game. I don't know. There's so many good games this year. All of them are going to be fun, but can't go to all of them. So we'll see. Myth says maybe they thought Kinlaw was marginally better than Worth. Possibly. You're probably right. You never know what their board looked like. Their big board, right? Channel 49, what's up, my man? He says, is there a wide receiver in the draft you select if Jennings doesn't come back? Honestly, I haven't looked too much at the board for wide receivers because I expect Jennings to come back 100%. He's an exclusive rights free agent. All they got to do is offer him the contract tender, which is $950K, and they'd be silly not to bring back Jennings. But definitely, there's a lot of quality receivers. But, man, Jennings, for being a 7th-round pick, the value they got out of this guy has been phenomenal. He's a third down, just chain mover, first down getter. He's a big-time red zone guy, very great blocker. This guy is very underrated, and the fact that they only going to have to bring him back for $950K is silly to me. So definitely a guy that I don't expect them to lose next year. At least he'll be back for one more year, and then after that, if he tears it up, then he might go on a unrestricted contract somewhere. So we'll see. Kind of like the Azeez Al-Shahir, situation where He had one more year. He got the tender offer. And now, after a couple of years with the team, he's ready to be an unrestricted free agent for the first time, and he's going to test the market. So we'll see. But I think definitely Jennings will be back with this team. I don't see that. If he didn't come back, I'd be super surprised because the 49ers, basically, all they got to do is offer him the contract. So, third and Jennings. Yes, sir. Batcher says, say it one time, Raj. Bust law. It's unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. But you're right. It's a fact. Peter Parker says you might need security in Philly. Yeah, I've thought about that a lot. I'd get broken in Philly. So if you could be my bodyguard, he says he's 6'5" and 270. He'll protect me. Appreciate you, man. I'll probably have a lot of people that I'll have to stay close to because I'm not 6'5", 270. Definitely not. Oh man. My man Sharia says, if we have learned anything from this year, Super Bowl, the two must-haves to win a Super Bowl: elite quarterback and an O-line. This time we have to start prioritizing O-line instead of D-line. I think you need to have an O-line and D-line because I don't know, stuff. I feel like, obviously, yes, quarterback, that's something we need to make sure we have, but you can't do anything if your quarterback is on his back all day and you can't protect your quarterback. So you need to have an O-line. But at the same time, you definitely need to get a D-line that can attack a quarterback because you can make someone's great quarterback obsolete if you can get pressure on him. And then a great D-line improves the rest of the defense. So I still think that D-line is definitely a priority for this team. Go get an edge on the other side of Bosa. Interior linemen. Definitely need to figure out that right tackle spot and make sure the quarterbacks are healthy. I don't know. I'm getting a little antsy because we got 2 days. Wednesday, well, this day's almost over with. We're almost a day away, basically, from Brock Purdy's surgery. Tomorrow's Brock Purdy surgery eve. It's Brock Purdy surgery eve. I'm a little nervous for the guy. February 22nd is when he's going to go for a surgery. So I'm going to send nothing but good prayers and good thoughts to Brock. I hope he can get healthy and, he could come back pretty quickly and recover fast. So it's going to be a scary, it's not an easy surgery. UCL recovery, repair and recovery takes some time. Hopefully it's the 6-month, venture that we all want. But if it's not, well, we'll really find out moving forward. So we'll see. Again, obviously, when the surgeon goes in there and he sees everything, then they can kind of dictate what's going to happen. But we'll find out shortly. And next week, when John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are at the combine and talking to us, we're going to hear a lot. We're going to get a lot of information from Kyle and John, man. I hope that we get some really good information about this team and kind of I want them to kind of go over and tell us, what's their off-season plan? What are they looking to get? Who are they targeting? Obviously, they're not going to tell us too much, but I want to get a sense of what we're looking forward to in the off-season because it's 3 weeks away now. We'll be ready for free agency. It's going to come just like that these next couple of weeks. So March 15th is when free agency starts, and it's going to be crazy. That is one of my favorite. That is probably my favorite time of the off-season because, man, oh, man, you see new players. People leave, people go, and it's just like, boom, news. Oh, my God, this player's going here. This player's going here. It's fun times. It's crazy. It's hard to keep up sometimes, but it's always fun. So prayers up for BCB. Yes, sir. Hal Gang says, what's your bold prediction for the offseason? My bold prediction is they're going to make a splash signing. I know last year they made a pretty good splash. They got Charvarius Ward. I think the Niners have one more splash in them this offseason. I know they went and got Christian McCaffrey, and that was huge this year. That was a great splash trade. I think they're going to make a splash signing. So I think they're going to first restructure Trent Williams' contract. Then I think they're going to second restructure Javon Kinlaw's contract. Then they're going to figure out Christian McCaffrey's money because his contract still kind of has to be figured out with the guaranteed money. They'll figure it out to where they get some cap flexibility. But I think the 49ers are going to make a splash. I'm not sure if it's going to be interior D-line or on the edge, but I think they're going to sign an edge rusher. That's where my heart is. That's where I think it's going to be. I think it might be Yannick Ngakoue. Or Marcus Davenport. They're both young guys that can get after the quarterback. Davenport had a down year after 2021 where he had 9 sacks, nine and a half. He only had one last year. down year, but he's 26. And on the 49ers D-line, if you can get a guy like Marcus Davenport, I think he can kind of resurrect his career. So I think the 49ers are going to make a huge splash at edge. I don't know. I think it's going to be Yannick or Marcus Davenport. That, to me, is my bold prediction. So we'll see. Hendricks, appreciate you, my man. Closing in on 10K. I am. I haven't even been grinding as much as I need to on YouTube, but we're going to keep rolling. A show a day keeps the bad vibes away. So I try to at least get a show a day during the week. So 49ers Raj says that the Larry, Krueger, and Raj shows goated. Y'all, I love that. Mondays, 1 o'clock with Larry. It's so fun talking to him, man. He knows a lot. I love that vibe. It's a good vibe. It's fun talking to Larry, man. I love the show. So been fun, and it gives us something to look forward to during the off season. So I'm glad that you guys enjoy the show with Larry. So what's up, Samuel? Would I sign Marcus over Payne? Ooh, man, if it's me, I think I want Deron Payne more. But honestly, the 49ers, if they can get it's so tough, man. I'd flip a coin, honestly, because I like Payne too. And I think he would really take a lot of pressure off of Armstead, and he would clog a lot of gaps and stuff like that. And he could rush the quarterback from the inside. So, man, that's tough. Davenport, though, I think is cheaper because he did have a down year last year. So you can probably get him and throw him in the mix. And I think he would have like a big-time season with the 49ers. I think he could get 9 sacks with the team. With this, defensive line coach, Chris Kasurik, you think he could get a lot out of Davenport. But that's a tough question. If I had to choose, gun to my head, I'm taking Deron Payne. But, man, the prospect of having a guy like Davenport who can really, revive himself, and he's 26, would be nice. But, man, Deron Payne, can't lie to you, he's the better player. So, you don't know. Who do you guys want? I've asked you many times. I think I posted on my community page. What is your top priority? You're John Lynch. You're sitting in the offense, and you're making your list, and you're checking it twice. What are you looking at? What is your number 1 priority? Number 2, number 3? Give me your top 3, because there's a lot. 3. I'm going to limit you guys to 3 priorities. What is it? If you could choose only 3 priorities that you have to address this offseason and let the rest go into the draft, what are they? Tell me. Let's go over it. So, hey, Parker says, Aziz, Emmanuel Mosley, and Tashawn Gibson. Those 3 are great. I would love all 3 of those. I think Aziz ultimately goes to Houston. I think we'll bring back Emmanuel Mosley. To me, he's my favorite free agent on the 49ers current list of them on defense. I love Jimmy Ward. Probably like him more, but I don't think we bring him back. So in that sense, I like E-Man. Let's see. Let's get to these questions. So Peter says we need a Grant and Rod show. We're working on it. Hall Gang says I want Payne. Yeah, Payne's the man. 49ers Raj says trade Kinlaw and 2/3 for Chase Young. Imagine Bosa and Young, but I don't think they would take Kinlaw and 2/3 for Chase Young. I wouldn't. Ask yourself that. You're the GM of the Washington Commanders, and I'm calling you. Hey, my man. Hey, I got a trade that you can't refuse. You can't refuse this. I'm going to give you Javon Kinlaw and 2 third-round picks for Chase Young. Hello, the phone. Did you hang up? Did you hang? He hung up. I guess he didn't like the deal. Come on, they ain't gonna do that. They're not gonna trade Chase Young for that. That's not a good enough package. I don't think so. I would love to have Chase Young and Nick Bosa. Are you kidding me? It'd be phenomenal. Hendrick says I wanted Gardner Johnson, but he's getting franchised. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get franchised. But if he doesn't, if they can get a move, if they can make a move for Gardner Johnson, this man can hit you. He can cover you. He can play pretty much every spot in the secondary. I love that guy. I would love him too. Samuel says offensive line, defensive line, safety. Those 3 positions, if they can hit that out of the park in free agency, then they done set themselves up with all their draft picks. Oh, my God, you're right. They can get a premium offensive lineman, right tackle, defensive lineman, and a safety. Man, they'd be in great position. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but, hey, you never know. Free agency is fun times. So let's see. Let me keep going through these comments. Your comments are great tonight. MF says, I want to draft a young quarterback like Jake Hanner. God, they probably will get a quarterback. I mean, obviously, you can't have enough if you're the San Francisco 49ers. You got Brock, who's coming off the injury, the surgery, who will be coming off the surgery. Trey Lance, who's coming off of the fracture, and then you have nobody else right now. Jimmy's a free agent. And then what else? Who else is there? So they'll probably get a veteran, but I would be very surprised if they didn't take a quarterback in this draft. I'd be very surprised. You need to continue to develop these guys and have young quarterbacks on a roster because they don't cost you much. There's a stat, I think Rohan put this out. Let me see. What was his stat about rookie quarterbacks? Let me see. This was pretty impressive stat that it's my boy Rohan, the stat guru. Let's see what he put. He put, let me see. Okay, there has been a quarterback on a rookie contract in each of the past 5 Super Bowls. Check it out. In 2018, Jared Goff. 2019, Patrick Mahomes. 2020, Patrick Mahomes. 2021, Joe Burrow. 2022, Jalen Hurts. 2017, if you include Carson Wentz. That is imperative to a team's success. That's crazy. 2018, Goff, Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts. You need a quarterback on a rookie deal. That is smart. So keep developing, keep getting these rookie contract quarterbacks, because then you don't have all this money tied up to a quarterback, and you can sign free agents. You can extend your players. You can restructure deals. It's smart. Because look at the Eagles. They're about to pay Jalen Hurts $50 million most likely a year. $50 million. They got 11 free agents, starters. A lot of them are starters. They're not going to be able to keep this same team intact. So they're going to lose a lot of core players. It's imperative to have a quarterback on a rookie contract, 100%. It's a great point that Rohan made. So, RA says, I do want to see how Kalia Davis plays. I'm intrigued by Kalia. You know what? I am very intrigued by Kalia Davis. I am going to try to get him on the show. I've been trying to schedule some times out. I've been talking to him a little bit. I'm going to try to get Kalia Davis because this is a guy that really intrigues me. I know he's coming off the ACL. And the team has high hopes for this guy because they said he's like the next DJ Jones. I am very intrigued for Kalia Davis. Obviously, I don't expect him to be getting starter reps right away, but this is a guy that in the future could be a big-time part of this team. I agree with you. I want to see what Kalia Davis can do. Sports 706 says, will the Jets trade for Lamar or sign Carr? I don't know. We'll see. I definitely think the Jets are going to make a big move. Aaron Rodgers is in the mix, but I don't know. The Jets are a team that their move kind of will control a lot of teams in this quarterback market because there's a lot of teams that need a quarterback, but there's not a lot of great ones out there because we still got Carr, right? He's a free agent. Lamar, he could get traded. Aaron Rodgers could get traded. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a free agent, who's going to go somewhere. And then after that, the list gets, a little bit bleaker and bleaker. So we'll see. The quarterback list is crazy this year. Or the teams that need a quarterback. The Saints need a quarterback. Carolina needs a quarterback. Tampa Bay, the Houston, the Jets, and then obviously the Jets, the Raiders, they all want quarterbacks. And then there's draft picks in the draft, quarterbacks in the draft, some really good young ones, but it takes time for them to develop. So sometimes these teams want a veteran to bridge the gap. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. So my man JR says sign Yannick Ngakoue and draft an O-line and safety. If they can get Yannick, I'm telling you, man, Yannick Ngakoue would be a phenomenal addition to this team. I would love it. Shari says trade 5 firsts and 5 seconds for Justin Herbert. That's funny, man. I don't even think we don't have any firsts or seconds for at least another year. MF says, where does Jimmy G go? So we talked about this today on Larry Krueger Show, and I and Larry, we both were in agreement that most likely we both think he's going to Tampa Bay. He's there. It's a team that's in a division that's pretty winnable. They have a lot of quality starters at receiver, and they have Tristan Dwarfs. So they have a team that you get a veteran in there, they could probably win games. I don't like their coach, obviously, but they have a decent defense if they're healthy. I think Tampa Bay probably is the best bet for Jimmy because he wants to go to a team where he can win, get paid pretty well, and I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are that team. But we'll see. Again, we'll see. There's a lot of options. It's going to be interesting. Maybe he goes to a team that has ties to him, right? Houston, the Jets, the Raiders. They have his former, OC as their coach now. So we'll see. it's going to be interesting to see where Jimmy lands. But I think if I had to choose and I had to bet, I think it's going to be Tampa Bay. So, yeah, McDaniels. So I think that's what Sati says. I think Vegas is a good fit for him because of Josh McDaniels. But I think he wants to win. You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. You got a pretty good cast of weapons with Tampa Bay. They don't really have a quarterback either. Obviously, you got Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask. I think that they're going to want a good veteran, even if they draft someone. But Jimmy can be a bridge for whatever they figure out after that. So that's where I see him going. But there's a lot of teams in the mix, so we'll see. MVP next year, well, it's too early to say, but I think right now odds-on favor are either going to be Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes if they can repeat the success they have this year. I would throw Joe Burrow in that mix. I expect him to be better and have another good season. So and I think the Bengals will continue to win. So maybe one of those three guys. We'll see. I think Patrick Mahomes, obviously, the league loves him. They'll probably get him a receiver this offseason. I expect the Chiefs' offense to get even better, and it's Patrick Mahomes. So I think he's definitely in the mix. Jalen had a really good year. I think he'll build upon it. I mean, you would expect Burrow to be in that mix. And then some other guys, you got to think about Justin Herbert. Will he get better? Will Josh Allen be able to limit the mistakes? I like Allen. I think he's a really good quarterback, but he made a lot of critical mistakes. He needs to cut down on those in order to be an MVP candidate. But those are guys. Unfortunate, there's players in the league that will just, the league is a quarterback friendly league now, and it's quarterback dominated. I think that the MVP, it's going to be a long time till we see a non-quarterback win that award, if ever again. Hendrick says Justin Jefferson. I would love to see a non-quarterback win it. I just don't think it's viable anymore. I think it's quarterback award now. That's kind of what it's turned into. So, Stummy says hot take Purdy MVP. Let's go, man. Can you imagine? That would be so dope to see Brock Purdy win the MVP. I'd pay. Let's go. I want to see a 49er win the MVP. It's been a long. We need a 49er to win an MVP, man. We need to do it. They need to do it. So we'll see. Be nice. It'd be nice to see it. It'd be dope. Any case, so yeah, that's it for today. Not a lot of news. We just wanted to address a few things, talk to you guys, get your mind right. It's the off season. Obviously, there's not much to talk about, but it's good to talk to the fans. Keep ourselves sane because off season is kind of boring. So we'll see. Hopefully, things start picking up. I'm really hoping news starts picking up because otherwise, it's boring. It's like dry out there. And then you can post the same throwback clips and stuff, but everybody's posting the same nonsense. So, take a little break here and there, but we got to keep going live, talking to y'all, and see what happens. But let's hope the news picks up. Appreciate you guys, and and enjoy your off season. I do enjoy the off season because it does give me a little break. I do get to catch up on some other things, but man, it is so boring on the weekends when you don't have football, right? MF says, I'm in a state of depression since the NFC Championship. And then Nathan says, all we got is the XFL. I mean, it's rough. RA says, is anyone watching the XFL games? Hendrick says, second half of the NBA. The second half of the NBA is a little bit better, especially the playoffs. Playoffs are good. NBA playoffs are good, but it takes a little time to get there. XFL, did you guys watch it? Did you guys like it? I don't know. It was all right. It wasn't horrible. I think it was a decent product. A Boogie says, any future 49ers in the XFL? I'd love to see it. I want to see some players, get taken from the XFL and make it to the Niners or the league. And that's what Larry and I were talking about, that if this league, the XFL wants to succeed, I think they have to have some type of affiliation with the NFL and make it like a G League type of league where it's like a pipeline, where it's a talent kind of distribution league where these guys can get developed and then eventually make it to the NFL, like a minor league type system. I think that's the way you can really assure fans are dedicated to it. Because if it can be attached to the NFL, it's a product because everybody loves the NFL, but you don't want to compete against the NFL. You can't compete against the NFL. But if you can kind of join forces and let's say, I don't know, I'm just making up a guy's name, Henry Smith, Larry Peterson, they're out there. Oh, they're looking great. Oh, they signed a contract to go to the 49ers after the XFL season. Boom, they go right to training camp. And, oh, man, he was the MVP of the XFL, and then he goes into the NFL, and his story goes from there. That would be pretty cool. The only thing is, I mean, imagine this: you're going into the XFL, you're training for that, and then you go right into the NFL offseason after the XFL. That's kind of a grind, so you may not really. It depends on how. I don't know when their league ends, but they need a little rest period in between, because going from boom XFL, boom right into off-season training for the NFL that'd be kind of a grind, and it is already a grind. So we'll see what happens. But I would like to see the league, the XFL, kind of be part of the NFL in terms of a secondary, supplemental type league for it, like the NBA has the G League. So. My man, sports keeps on spamming. Will the Chargers be good next year? Just because you're spamming, I'm going to say no. I don't think their coach is good. That's all I'm going to say, man. They have a great set of players, but their coach is not the best, in my opinion. But we'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to win anything substantial. As long as their head coach is there, I don't think that they're going to be winning much. Showboat says, is Kinlaw the Wiseman of the NBA? That's a good way to put it. That's fair. That's fair. I like it. I like that assessment. But anyways, that's it for tonight. I think we hit everything we wanted to talk about. Not much to talk about. I appreciate you guys hopping on for the last hour on a day where there's not a lot of news. Like I said, hopefully the news picks up. I appreciate the support. We're getting closer to a 10K on YouTube. Again, love you guys. I hope your week is great. Let's hope Brock Purdy's surgery is a rip-roaring success on Wednesday, and we should have a few updates hopefully this week. I'm bored without the news, Anyways, y'all have a good night. I love you, and bang, bang. Nana gang.